Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sheikh Shahrukh. One domestic architecture, house and villas. First of all, and we are Azhar for giving us a chance to record this podcast on a very interesting topic of Roman domestic architecture, house and villas. And we are covering their domestic architecture and the way insides of their daily lives. A very interesting topic for us, and me and my group members have divided the 5 main subtopics about their domestic architectures: dormers, insulae, villa, horti, and atrium. First of all, I would like to give some highlight on Roman domestic architecture. Roman domestic architecture reveals such about life, social status, and cultural values in ancient Rome. The designs of Roman homes and houses range from modest apartment buildings to the luxurious rural estates. And we have list down the 5 important types of Roman homes: dormers, insulae, villa, horti, and atrium. First of all, dormers. Urban private houses. Dormers, townhouses. We can say them townhouses as well. The dormers was the home of a wealthy Roman families. Basically, it was a spacious townhouse that was designed to impress visitors. Way back, it was the heart of dormers, consisted of the atrium, an open space for a baseline for collecting rainwater. Secondly, insulae, apartment buildings, a very interesting and a complicated design of building that we can find in way back period, a very rich in we can say design. It's basically an apartment buildings for most of the urban population. Living in insulae was common. These apartments were building and often with several high stories building made of wood, bricks and concrete. The lower floor had shops and upper floor was small and apartments. Thirdly, villas. Basically, villas is a rural estate outside the city where rich Romans lives in. These could be a country home or working farm. Basically, it's we can say a huge garden, bath, and beautiful decorations. Full of luxurious type of villa which Romans made, and they often go and live in that villas. Horti. Horti were gardens which rich Romans enjoy having their villas and even in a city. Basically, it's a type of garden which is decorated with beautiful plants, fountain and statues, which was very attractive at that time of period, that so much attracted by the nature, and Romans love the nature and necessities of calms. And lastly, atrium. It's a central courtyard. It's mainly the heart of most Romans house, especially domus. It was open central area in the house and had a roof opening known as campulium. My topic is basically covering the Roman domestic architecture, the domus. Roman domestic architecture ranged from the humblest insulae apartment buildings in poor and cities to the luxurious villas and elite class. These structures give a clear picture of daily lives of ancient Romans, their social structures and cultural identity. We can say at that time of period, Romans were so much, we can say so much that they made a very beautiful design of homes and villas, and these architecture were very much attractive at that period of time, as Romans were focuses on grand towns and houses. Wealthy Roman families, basically at that time, these were made by the wealthy Romans and rich Roman families in ancient times like Rome, Pompeii, and Ocean. The domus was more than just a home. It represented wealth, power, and social standing. Central to the domus was the atrium. This is an open courtyard. Basically, it's an open courtyard with a shallow pool with name of Emblem that collect rainwater. A very beautiful idea. This space served more than its practical purpose. It was that visitors saw upon entering at or marks the first point of entry of any guest and family, and it was marks the family prestige. Beyond the atrium was the tableum, a shot of the office for the paterfamilias and the master of the house. It was basically the area where the head of the family, head of that villa stay. That was where business took place and important meetings. It was basically the place where the head of that villa conduct family important meetings. Here is where the wealthy rooms tended to decorate their brightly colored crocus in order to prove one of taste and sophistication in culture. A very interesting place that at that time they made and think of these things. Both domus wasn't all work towards to back to the house was precisely a garden surrounded by columns. It was serene retreat filled with plants, fountains, and sometimes statues. A very, very interesting way they said these things. Basically, these were the places where families find a very peaceful time to spend, and other uh, rooms were of that villas were bedrooms, dining area, even private bath, and some other spacious lawns for the rich families. The domus reflect the social hierarchy and its layout. The public area, for instance, of the atrium were intended for entering and doing businesses, while private space were reserved for family life. Basically, at that time, they think of the very interesting point that they separated their private life and personal life and business life different from each other. They did not just like for nowadays families, because of short of spaces, we make our houses and we discuss our businesses in the same area and everything in the because of shortage of space. But at that time they have a very huge spaces, so they have set everything at their uh, points. They made their points that this is for the place where we can meet and discuss about their businesses. This is a place where we have to sit and think and make our mind peaceful. And old Romans remind yourself that Domus was not a house, it is a symbol of world that values beauty, power, and community. Yes, we all at that time in today's world, if we think and we just imagine in the history of books that what space and what type of beauty was that it was not a house, it was a symbol to the world that valued beauty, power, and community. They have set a very beautiful example. Lastly, Thomas, we can say a townhouse was home of wealthy Roman families and social status and power. It was not built to live, but it was basically sometimes they live in these areas, but it was made to show off their wealth and most important to the gathering. When someone visit their areas, and these areas and these villas were to impress them. And lastly, the wall of Thomas boasted colors and was made out of trees and by its own owner, despite one's character and influence. The house boasts smaller atlas called Laria in the house where the household worship their god. In that villas, they also made a private area, private space to worship their god. Roman values their families, their culture, and hospitalities into life daily aspect within the noble class of Roman elites. This is from my side, and now my remaining group members will one by one uh, elaborate their subtopics. Mr. Hashir Faisal will elaborate insular apartment buildings. Hassan Abdullah will tell you about villas and rural estate. Hassan Tariq will tell you about horti gardens and garden villas, a very interesting topic. And lastly, Mohammad Hassan will tell you about atrium. It's a central courtyard. That's from my side. Thank you. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.
The term insula, meaning island in Latin, had a rather ambiguous translation in Roman times as it referred to the multi-story apartment buildings that dominated Rome and other Roman cities. These structures were a hallmark of Roman architecture, innovation, and urban planning, housing the majority of city's population. Historical records show that Rome had over 40,000 insulae, which accommodated a wide range of social classes. However, living conditions varied significantly depending on income and status. Primarily rental properties, insulae were often owned by wealthy individuals, including senators who relied on them as sources of income. However, these investments came with risks as fires and collapses were common. The ground floors of these buildings usually housed shops and businesses, creating vibrant hubs of trade, entertainment, and social interaction. These spaces made an insulae to control the insulae central to Roman urban life, blending residential and commercial activity. Wealthier tenants lived on the lower floors, which offered a larger, well ventilated apartment with separate dining and sleeping areas, glazed windows, and access to running water and indoor toilets. These more comfortable units were typically rented on an annual basis. In contrast, the upper floors were cramped and poorly maintained. Entire families lived in a small single room apartments without natural light, running water, or sanitation. Human waste was often dumped into streets below, creating unsanitary conditions and spreading disease. The rent for these units was paid daily or weekly, leaving residents in constant fear of eviction. Despite these challenges, insulae were more than just housing, they were cultural microcosms of Roman life. The shops and businesses on the ground floors provided opportunity for trade and social interaction, bringing together people from diverse backgrounds. This dynamic environment reflected the city's cultural and economic vibrancy. Ultimately, insulae symbolized the complexities of Roman urban life. While they highlighted the stark contrasts between social classes, they also served as hubs and cultural identity, shaping both the physical and social fabric of the ancient city.
If we talk about Roman villas, these were basically large country houses built by wealthy Romans, and they often located in rural areas. Let's talk about some features of Roman villas. If we talk about layout and design of Roman villas, there were typically a central courtyard called atrium. This was like the heart of the villa. Basically, it is like a dining room of villa where all family members gather and hang out. Then there is tablinum, a room served as a reception area, usually located between atrium and garden. So that's called tablinum. And after that we have the dining room, which is called triclinium. It was designed for reclining while eating, with sofas and couches arranged around a central table. After that, we have Villa Rustica. Basically, they were functional style villas, often used for farming activities. The Roman villas featured elaborate mosaics and sculptures showcasing the wealth of the owner. Basically, these villas were constructed using local materials such as bricks, stone, marbles, and concrete. And many villas had advanced heating systems called hypocast, which shows that how advanced these Roman villas were. Overall, Roman villas were a blend of luxury, functionality, and artistry, reflecting the lifestyle and values of Roman elites.
Horticulture is the art and science of cultivating plants for food, medicine, and aesthetics. It focuses on fruits, vegetables, ornamental plants, and landscape restoration. Horti or gardens were a vital component for Roman domestic architecture, blending aesthetics, practicality, and culture symbolism. These gardens, found in villas, townhouses, and country estates, reflected the wealth and sophistications of their owners. Common designs included atrium gardens located in central courtyard and peristyle gardens enclosed by colonnades and adorned with sculptures, fountains, and facades depicting natural landscape. Horti served multiple functions. They enhanced the beauty of homes, providing tranquil spaces for social gathering, symbolized Roman ideals for leisure and refinement, and offered practical benefits such as fresh produce and medicinal herbs from kitchen gardens. The symmetrical layouts used of topiary and intricate designs influence garden architecture and continue to shape modern landscape design, showcasing the enduring legacy of Roman horticulture innovation. They also enhance the beauty of homes with ornamental plants and artwork, symbolize Roman ideals, and also hosted many gatherings and entertained guests in these tranquil settings. Horti were more than gardens, they were living art, blending practicality and luxury. Roman domestic architecture used to reflect wealth, cultural sophistication, and a deep appreciation for nature.
The atrium is a central architectural element characterized by a large open interior space, often covered with a glass roof or a skylight. Its design promotes natural light and ventilation, creating a sense of openness and connection within buildings. Historically, atriums originated in Roman homes as central courtyards, serving practical purposes like water collection and social gathering. Over time, they evolved into modern structures found in commercial buildings, hotels, and public spaces, symbolizing luxury and sophistication. In contemporary architecture, atriums enhance functionality by incorporating energy efficient features, greenery, and water elements, contributing to a sustainable designs. They improve lighting, reduce energy use, and serve as versatile spaces for events or social interactions.